Hello everybody, I'm Teacher Carrie. I'm a VIPKID teacher. Today I want to show you my classroom setup in a non-designated classroom area, meaning I do not have an office or any kind of a separate space that I'm able to teach out of. Right now we're living in a rental house, my husband and my 2 children and our very large dog. There's not much extra room. So I wanted to find something that was simple, that I didn't have to put a lot of money into. We have a small budget that I'm trying to work with. So if that's what you're looking for, I hope that this can help you to be creative in how you set up your classroom so it can best meet the needs of your teaching, but also not be in the way of your family as you're going through life every day. I try to be really minimalistic in my teaching. I don't use a whole lot of props. I haven't put much money into my whole teaching setup. I haven't put much money into my background. When I first started, I put almost zero money into it, and I've made a couple upgrades along the way. But to be a successful VIPKID teacher, you don't need to put all your money into props and backgrounds and reward systems. If you can just make some very simple setup that works for you, that's really all you need. I just recommend focusing on the quality of your teaching, and if it's not your style to put all the emphasis on the bells and whistles, then don't worry about it. There's some really awesome teachers that have tons of cool props and really fun reward systems and, very cool backgrounds and everything. I'm just not one of those. I don't put a lot of time into figuring out props and different reward systems and things, but I've still been able to be really successful in my teaching, and I think it's just more reflective of my own style. So that might be you, that you might be thinking about VIPKID, but not sure if you can keep up with all of the YouTube videos that you see of all the props and the rewards and everything else. So I hope that this can give you sort of a realistic, minimalist approach that you can see that you can do this job, even if you don't have the money to put into all of that or the time to figure it all out. You really can be successful with just a few simple things. So first, I want to walk you through my classroom setup. So you see here, this is my current background. I just recently redid my classroom. If you're interested in what my first classroom setup looked like, you can check out my FAQ video that's on my uploads, one of my earlier uploads, and that video was filmed in my old background. For the old background, I actually used a bed sheet. That was the first thing that I used to set up my classroom. I used one of my daughter's flat twin Trolls themed bed sheets, and I just hung it on the wall. It had these fun, colorful rainbows and cupcakes. And when I first started, I was only teaching level 2, so I had a lot of little kids, so it was really good for those early levels. I've recently changed because I'm teaching a lot of the older students now, and I felt like it was a little bit babyish. But it was really fun and cute, and it was something that I already had, so I didn't have to buy anything. I just tacked the sheet up on the wall, and when you're on the camera, you can't see the sides, and so you can't tell what it is. It just looked like a background. So that's something simple. If you're looking for just something to have behind you, a sheet works really well. Just if you have an extra twin sheet, even if it's a solid color, or if it's your kids' sheets and it's got some kind of fun pattern on it, it's fun. I mean, the kids will love characters and things. So anyways, work with what you have. Look in your closets, find something that you have that will work. You could also pick up like one of those plastic tablecloths from Dollar Tree for $1 and just hang that up to give you some color, or a shower curtain, anything like that you can hang behind you, and it works really well as a background. So, like I said, I recently updated my background because I got certified in these higher levels. I'm now certified up through level 6. So I have a lot more older students, and I wanted something that felt a little bit more grown up. And this is a little bit more reflective of my style anyways. So once I've been teaching for a while, I felt like I was in a place that I could invest a little bit into my classroom. So I got this fun map. It sticks to the wall. It's from a company called Wall Pops, and I will link this map in the description below. I got it on sale from Amazon for $10, I think. I think it's normally $20. But it's really fun. It's got lots of pictures, lots of colors, and it makes my background feel really fun and colorful with just basically one thing. So I'm not having to add a lot of other things. So I really, really like this. and there's lots of great map options if you want to do a map. You can actually get a map from Dollar Tree. You can get a $1 US map. It's pretty simple, but it's all you need. I actually wanted to get that map. My Dollar Tree kept being out of them. I don't have a very good Dollar Tree. Some people have really great ones. So if you have a good one, definitely use it. Mine has I'm in a small town, so it's got a pretty small selection. So they were always out of the map when I would check. But that's a great option to just get a $1 map. You could maybe get one of those tablecloths to hang up to give you some color and stick that map on, and there you go. You've got a $2 background and you're done. So that's an option. Anyways, so I put a little bit of money into this map, $10, and I'm really happy with it. It can peel off the wall and stick back on, so I can take this with me if we move to a new house, or if I need to change the location of my classroom in my house. It can just peel off and go to the new spot, so that's really great. Other than the map, all I have is I just colored this when I first started, just with my daughter's crayons. So I might update some of this as time goes on. I just haven't gotten around to it, and it really works fine. So I colored this. This is just my name in Sharpie, nothing exciting. I made my little welcome sign with my daughter's markers. So just use what you've got. If you've got art supplies, just, make something. It doesn't have to be super fancy. This brings us to my reward system. So let's talk reward systems for a minute. You maybe are required to have a secondary reward system. It's a little fuzzy right now in the VIPKID world. I recommend having one just in case you ever need to have a parent review invalidated. Then if you make sure that you have that secondary reward system, it's just another thing to check off the list to make it more likely that VIPKID will invalidate that review if that were to happen. So I just keep a secondary reward system, but I don't like changing my reward system. I tried a few different ones. Most of my students, my regular students, honestly aren't very into it. They weren't super excited when I was trying to be creative and use like Google Slides and stuff. They just weren't into it. And so I've just gone to this really simple one, and I use it for everybody. So I just have my stars, and I give them at the same time that I give the stars on my classroom. And in the classrooms, you're always giving stars, 5 stars to your student. So when I give a star in the classroom, I just hold up one of these, and then I stick it on. Right now I'm just using tape, and I just colored these. I want to make some new stars soon that look a little bit nicer, but I haven't gotten around to it. So again, it doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, these are working for me. And so I have some little tape here, and I just stick it on the tape, and that's really all that I need. So that's this space here I leave for my reward system. You can also, if you want to go a little bit more involved, you could get like a magnetic board that you could put magnets onto your rewards so that you can easily stick those up. That's sort of my long range plan, that down the road I might invest in that. But for now, the tape's working. This is really all that I need. So this is my very simple, easy, cheap background. So really, this only cost $10 for this map. And again, I could have gone with the Dollar Tree map for $1. So this could have been a $1 background. I just sprung for the big ones. Lighting. For lighting, I just use a lamp next. I have an overhead light, and I just have a regular lamp next to my computer. And then I recently got one of the little selfie light rings. I'll show you. I actually have it on the phone right now. This is a little selfie light ring. I haven't used it that much yet. Let's see if it makes a difference on here. That's without. That's with. I don't know. We'll see if we see a difference. But anyways, so that was like maybe $15, $13, something like that. I'll link it below. But that I think is helpful. I'm still trying to play around with it to see which setting I like it on best. It has 3 different settings for the brightness. But if you struggle with the light in your room, that's an option that you can just put onto your computer, and it's portable. So if you ever travel while you're teaching, you can take it with you. But there's lots of different options. If I was going to put money into it, I would probably get one of those lamps with the different heads that you can change the direction of them so that you can point them in different directions and have multiple light sources. I know a lot of teachers use those, but you can just use the lamps that you have in your house. It's helpful. I don't have 2 lamps, so I'm just using one. If you have 2 lamps, it would be good to have them on either side so that you have light coming from both directions. I haven't had a problem with my lighting, so I think 1 lamp is fine, but it'll just depend on your room and the brightness level in your room. But again, you don't have to go out and buy a $75 lamp to teach for VIPKID. Just make sure that you can see your background, you can see your face, that's all that matters. So you can just work with what you have to do that. Okay, so now that you've seen what my student sees from my classroom, I'm going to take you on the real life, behind the scenes look at what my classroom actually looks like. So here we go. Here is my super duper fancy high quality standing desk. So this is a very narrow folding card table. And I really love this for my purposes here. I actually swiped this from my parents' house, so that was awesome, but I will find a similar product and link it below. I find this really helpful because when I'm done teaching, I just push the table up against the wall and it really doesn't come out very far, so it's not in the way of anything. And it gives me just enough space to keep all of my props on the table without taking up too much room. So here we have my boxes of out-of-season clothes, and then my laptop sits right here for teaching. So yes, I do stand to teach, and if you plan to stand to teach, I definitely recommend putting some kind of a mat down. I have just a basic exercise mat here. But I recommend using a mat for the comfort of your feet and your legs. The first few days that I started standing to teach, I got super sore just because of standing, and I wasn't wearing shoes either. And so don't do that. I definitely recommend a mat and wearing supportive shoes. So I now wear my running shoes and I stand on my exercise mat and I don't have any problems. So that's super helpful. So anyways, yes, this is it. So this is just in my bedroom, and it's just on one side. So now I will let you see how I put everything away at the end of my teaching time. Props. So like I said, I'm very minimalistic in my teaching, so I don't really like to use a lot of props. Plus, I don't plan to really spend much of any money on these props. So I've mostly used things that I had around my house. I have little kids, and so I'm able to use their toys and their things to help. So I'm going to show you a few of the props that I use the most often. I just keep my props in a box in my closet next to my classroom. And so in the morning, I pull those out and I just have them on my table with me. So these are the ones that I find myself using the most. First is I have my soccer ball and my basketball. And I find myself using at least one of these very often. There's just a lot of times when you're teaching then my friends and I unit, you use this all the time. Anytime that you're talking about throw, teaching the letter B for ball, there's all kinds of ways that you can use this. So these are super helpful. I just swiped these from my kids, so I already had them. So definitely have a ball close by that you can grab. Next is my flashcards. I have letters and numbers. I find myself using the letters a lot more than I use the numbers, but I do pull these out every once in a while, especially for trial classes. You often teach, their age and stuff. I don't teach level 1, so I don't teach the little kids that often, so I don't use these super often, mostly just in trials. But the great thing about the letter flashcards is they have pictures on them. So even if I'm not using the letter, sometimes I'll pull out one of these just for a picture. So like apple, I'll sometimes use this one. or sometimes I use, there's a lamp in here. I use that one a lot in the things in my home unit. So that's really helpful. So anytime I'm feeling like I want to prep for something, I'll usually flip through this to see if I have a picture of it. So that's really nice. It's got lots of different animals and things. Like I said, I don't teach level 1, so I don't use my puppets as often as a lot of teachers do, but puppets are really fun to have, or just a stuffed animal. It doesn't need to be a puppet. But I happen to have these puppets, so sometimes I use them. I usually keep them close by just in case, especially for trials, the little kids, I will pull this out to be just a fun little friendly face, or to help with role play. You can talk to your puppet. That's helpful. And sometimes I pull out this dog because sometimes the lessons will talk about a dog, someone having a dog. So it's fun to pull this out. So I'll try to do that sometimes. So I keep these close by as well. I had a couple of regulars recently going through the My Friends and I unit, so I was teaching that one a lot. So I drew this kite, and I use it a lot because I teach those lessons often. So this took me 2 minutes to draw, and I just keep it in my prop box, and it's super easy. You don't have to have a real picture of something if you can. I'm not an artist, but I mean, I can look at a picture of a kite on, clip art online and draw it. So you can just do that. So this is a good one. Play food. If you have kids, just swipe a few pieces of play food. These are very, very helpful when you're talking about foods. So I have my bread. I have a chicken leg for meat. I have an apple. The apple is super helpful. I find myself talking about apples a lot. Fruit. All kinds of things. So having the food that you can pull out is super helpful. If you can just have one vegetable, one fruit, and one meat, then that will really help you a lot. So play food. I have this mouse that I use a lot for the early units or for trial classes. I don't use the mouse. I have a touch screen that I use for teaching, so I don't use it, but it's my prop mouse. And it's super helpful when you're talking about teaching them. I can circle with the mouse to be able to point to the mouse. I find this super helpful, and it can help demonstrating, drag and drop and circling and things like that. So this is very helpful. My real go-to prop is my whiteboard. Definitely get yourself a handheld whiteboard. You can get this from Dollar Tree for $1. So pick up one of these. You can use it for phonics blending. You can use it for spelling. You can draw a picture for your student. You can use it if you want to do a different reward system. You can use it for that. You can play a game on it. You can do all kinds of things. So just get one of these. Definitely, I pretty much say it's required. You should have a whiteboard. Also, I got one of these whiteboards, and I need to rewrite this because it's starting to wear off. But I use permanent marker here to write each of these, and then we can use my dry erase marker to fill it in as we're practicing our verb conjugations. So this is super awesome and helpful for the students to be able to see the whole conjugation in front of them. So this is fun, and I can hold it like this, and it's nice. So $1, pick up one of those. My last one is a new one I got recently. It's my little trophy, and I love this one because when my students finish an assessment, I'll pull this out on the little "you win" slide. It's a little anticlimactic when you don't have anything special for them. So when they get to that slide, I pull this out, and it's so cute when they haven't seen me do it before, and I say, da 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 da, you win the trophy. And even my older students who are kind of, too cool for all of the fun stuff, it always makes them smile, and they think it's so special because it surprises them that they get their own real trophy. So this is really cute. If you ever see one, I think sometimes people find them at Hobby Lobby, places like that. Or if your kid just has a trophy, a generic looking trophy from something, you can just use that. This was one this is a Awana trophy. So I just have this to use. But yeah, this is super fun. I just turned it around this way. So I really like this one. Finally, I like to keep a stack of children's books on my table with me. I pretty much only use these for regular students. I will say there are some parents who maybe complain about you reading books with the kid. I've never had someone complain, but I have heard that. The problem comes when you just read to them because that's not keeping the correct talk time ratio of you and the student. But I like to have my regular students practice reading with these. So something like Brown Bear is really fun in the early levels because they're getting to practice the, what do you see sentence frame. That's what the whole book is. So like I had a little sweet early level 2 regular the other day read the whole book herself, and it was so fun. And so this is good to just have in case your student finishes really early, and maybe you want to do something different besides just reviewing or talking. Books are just a fun thing to have, so I try to keep a few on the desk with me. So that's pretty much all I use in my classroom. I've pretty much spent maybe like $15-20 total if you count this map. So not much. Without the map, I mean, I've probably spent $5 on stuff from Dollar Tree. So don't feel like you have to put a ton of money into your teaching. Like I said, you can also do it gradually. I didn't put hardly anything in at the beginning, and as I've started to make more, I feel a little bit more liberty to put a little bit in to have something special for my students. But you can really be successful in this job even without an office for teaching, without all of the many props, without the fancy reward systems. I say my number one tip is just to really be genuine with your students and get to know them. I just love my regular students, and I feel like I'm building these relationships with them that's so special, and that's really what they're looking for, is to have those good conversations and have a teacher that really cares about them, because you can really be a big part of these kids' lives. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money for you as a teacher. You can do it in whatever means that you have. So I hope that this has been helpful for you as you're thinking about setting up your classroom. If you are just starting the application process and are still looking for a referring teacher, follow my link below to start the application, or you can add my referral code to your account if you've already started your application, and I'll put both of those below. I've also included my email address. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I really love to help new teachers get started and to answer those questions that you have in the application process. I have lots of teacher resources for you guys as you're starting out. I have a step-by-step guide for the application process and for the new teacher process once you get hired. So I'd love to share those resources with you if you are ready to apply. Thanks for watching. Bye.